Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. So excited to talk to you today. I am Marcia Patrick. I am the sales director for Princess Cruises, covering Western United States and all of Canada. Hello, Paul. I see you're from Santa Clarita. That's cool. I'm not too far from you. BJ from SC. Oh, you're on the Ruby from Alaska. So that's what we're here to talk about, is all things Alaska. Thank you guys so much for joining us. So I'm going to give a little bit of a reminder before we get started that we made the commitment to doing these webinars for our travel advisors. Hi, Monica. It's so cool to see people you actually know and have met. But we made the commitment to doing these webinars for you, for travel advisors. The first webinar of every month is strictly travel advisor only. And then the second one that we offer, we open it up to consumers. So, and a lot of travel advisors have shared with us that they have invited their guests to join us today so that they could learn all about Alaska straight from Princess here on this webinar. So thank you for that. Okay, so let's get going, and we'll send some reminders. Reminder, we always record it. You'd be surprised that the number one question we get in pre-registration is, I'm not going to be able to make it. I can't make it at that time. Are you recording? We always record them, and then we place them on OneSource so that our travel advisors can watch these at a later date if they were unavailable at the time that we did this live. So we care about you being able to see this later. Thank you for that. And next, we want to talk about sticking around for the fact that we're going to do Q&A at the end. You guys are wildly happy about the fact that we do Q&A, and we try to infuse Q&A throughout the webinar as well. And then always have your cameras ready, because we are QR heavy, QR code heavy. Joe and the team behind the scenes do a great job of providing a QR code. So you can just open your cell phone, scan it, and then quickly get to areas for information and tools that we want to share with you along the way. Next slide, please. And it's official. So we all knew, I knew from day one of my time here with Princess, that we always had the best pizza at sea. It's been official for a really long time, but next slide, please. Drum roll. We are now a Guinness World Record holder on having the largest pizza party ever on Princess Cruises. I've talked to some of our teammates who went on board to help with these events, and they were so excited, and they talked about what a great event it was, and who can get mad at having a pizza day, right? A huge pizza party for the ship. Look at some of those numbers. So the total weight of dough used to accomplish this world record, 6,512 pounds of dough. That is insane, right? My favorite is pepperoni. Not sure what your favorite is, but I'm a pretty simple gal. Pepperoni, and there was 1,300 pounds of pepperoni. Not 1,300 pieces, 1,300 pounds. That's pretty crazy. So anyway, we're super excited. The crew had a really great time with us, and I think that our guests had a really great time participating and becoming part of the Guinness Book of World Records as well. Next slide, please. So today we are here to talk about all things adventure and all things Alaska. And we're so excited to have you guys join us to learn all the details about the fact that we just opened 2026 Alaska. That's kind of insane, right? That we're talking about 2026 Alaska right now, and we're in 24. It's crazy that we're 2 years ahead. So let's cue a little sizzle video for you guys, and then we'll bring our special guest on. Yay, I love that. I'm so glad they did that video for us. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Marcia. How are you?
I'm great. So glad that you could join us. So you guys, I'm introducing you to all of our wonderful viewers today. So Mary Jekyll is our Director of Alaska Planning and Marketing for Princess. and she's got an amazing story. So I'll ask you a couple of questions, Mary. Then the first one that is going to intrigue everyone is where are you sitting right now? What is your locale?
I am sitting in my home office in Juneau, Alaska.
Yeah, you can't get more authentic than that, right? So our director of Alaska Planning and Marketing is sitting, lives, breathes, eats every day in Juneau, Alaska. That's pretty incredible.
Yes, and currently the temperatures are in the 50s, so I'm still in
Oh,
a sweater.
okay.
Yeah, I know it's midsummer. It's a little bit misty and cloudy today, so
Okay.
but very real, very here.
And what have you had a special assignment recently? So what
I
were you doing
did.
for us recently?
Yeah, so we are super excited. We're working on some video and new photos. So we were up in the mainland for the last, I would say, a couple of weeks, just collecting some of that content so we can share with you guys and help you get very excited about Alaska.
Yay, we're excited.
Yay!
We
I'm
love
I'm
new
thrilled.
content. All right, so let's get to business and talk about what everybody's here for.
Yes.
Exciting 2026 Alaska.
Yes, so excited for this new season. It promises to be our most exciting yet. And as you mentioned, Marcia, it's now on sale for past guests. It's loyalty week, so anyone who's been a past guest, they get an opportunity to book 1 week in advance. The
Yes.
sale does start for the public on Thursday, August 1st. So that is
Okay.
coming up right around the corner.
Right around
Um,
the corner.
right around the corner. We will have 8 ships in Alaska. The primary ship that folks are probably talking about the most is our new Starship. So the sister ship to
Yay!
the sun. And Marsha, have you been on the sun yet?
I have not. I'll be on in
Okay.
October, so I haven't seen her yet.
Okay. Okay, awesome. Well, there's a lot of things to love and a lot of reasons why we're super excited about Alaska. But I think we need to just hit pause and talk about why why we're number one. So first and foremost, more guests choose Princess for Alaska than any other cruise line. But really, it's not about how many people we carry to Alaska or take to Alaska. It's really more about, folks giving us the vote of confidence. So oftentimes we win a lot of awards, and we've won. Let's see, we've won Travel Age West, and we've also been voted, number one in Alaska 20 times
Yeah.
overall by Travel
Yeah.
Weekly, including last
I
year.
know I know exactly what you're saying. So the vote of confidence that we get from
Yeah.
the travel advisor community,
Mhm.
as well as our guests who actually experience Alaska with us, is what means the most to us. And that's
Right.
why winning these awards are important. It's not necessarily the hardware, although that's nice too. It's Carmen and I love bling. It's not just that, but it is also because you guys said that we're number one,
Mhm.
and that's what's most important to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are number one. The confidence in us is fabulous. And why is it that way, right? So why are we
Yeah.
number one? And I think it's because look, we've been here for a while. We are a legacy brand in Alaska. We have people who live here in Alaska who are really focused on delivering the best experience possible. We have
Yeah.
top rated cruises and cruise tours and award-winning immersive experiences. We also have our owned and operated lodges. So these were the lodges that I was up at and mentioned at the top of the call. We go to
Yeah.
Denali and Glacier Bay on every cruise tour.
Hmm.
And one thing that I love the most when I talk with our guests up here at the port, here in Juneau, is you see multi-generational families. So
Oh
sometimes
yeah.
people are celebrating like an anniversary, or sometimes it's just the one time of the year where grandma and grandpa, all the grandkids, mom and dad in
Yeah.
between can get together. And it's a location where everybody can find something super fun to experience.
It's so true. You'd think sometimes that kids would not want a vacation in Alaska, but they have a fantastic time. They learn so much. And then just think about being in a pool, a heated pool with glaciers surrounding you, because kids still get
Wow.
in the pool, right? It's
Right.
it's an amazing time.
Yeah. So we know that based on a lot of the research we've done, because we've been here for a while, the primary drivers of why people come to Alaska initially are the glaciers, the wildlife, the mountains. But it's also that we go to these other more specific niches that people are really seeking out, right? Denali National Park, Glacier Bay National Park. We work with the Alaska Railroad, Alaska Seafood. So if you're a big seafood fan, we do a lot with seafood. And then obviously the inside cruising, inside passage cruising. That's one of the highlights. So
Absolutely.
one way that we help folks get up here and see the inside passage is through our round trip cruises. And we have departures from Seattle, San Fran, Vancouver, and select options from LA. And Marsha, I feel like you
Yay!
and Francisco the other
I begged for that one. Yeah, we have one. Well, we have one. We have one in 25. We have one in 26. So we're committed to that one. It's a 16-day round trip LA. So our advisors and our guests asked us for that, and we delivered. So, and it is selling out. So if you want to get on it, book it.
Yep, correct. Another way we get folks up here to see a little bit more of Alaska is our one-way voyage of the glaciers. So in any cruise tour that you'll take, this is the cruise you'll get from kind of the mainland lower 48 all the way up to mainland Alaska. And then, as I mentioned, you can see most of Alaska that Princess offers through our cruise tours. So that's that combination of your cruise, the rail experience, and the land experience.
I'm going to pause there for a second and just sell this a bit, because if you're going to make the commitment to take an Alaska cruise, you should seriously consider adding the additional time to do the land portion of it. That's where you get to do most of what Mary's going to share with you, but see most of the wildlife, see the heartland, actually get to experience Alaska. And so I have been on a cruise before where I didn't do the land portion, and I have regretted it ever since. So don't do what I did. And then also when I was on the cruise, I had FOMO, fear of missing out, because I'm on the cruise and I'm talking to other people, and they're talking about how they've extended and they're going to be doing the land portion. And I'm like, what did I do? I did not do this correctly. So make sure you do it right with the land portion.
And one thing I love the most, Marsha, is I'm a big wildlife person. Yeah. And so the wildlife that you see in Southeast, right? You can see the black bears, but you'll see whales and orcas, a lot of eagles, obviously. But when you get to the mainland, you have the opportunity to see caribou, grizzlies, some of these other more land creatures than the water creatures. That's what I love about cruise tours.
Yes. I'm excited.
Awesome. So what makes a Princess Alaska cruise? So we're going to break this down into 3 or 4 different sections. And the first one is our ships. So obviously we have a plethora of ships coming up here. I think one of the core reasons that people love about our ships are the balconies, because when you're going through the inside passage, right side of the ship, left side of the ship, you can see every piece of Alaska, and it's such a visually stimulating location. That is probably by far the number one reason that people love coming up here. The second is the scenic glacier viewing. So there's at least 1 to 2 days where you will have an opportunity to see glaciers. And then we work really hard behind the scenes to make sure that our cruise line is positioned well within each of these individual small, tiny ports here in Southeast. We want to make sure you guys get to Juneau. Woohoo! Shameless plug for my city. But also Ketchikan and Skagway. And sometimes we do offer more further reaching locations. So some of our cruise itineraries, you'll see us going to places such as Valdez or maybe even Seward, right? So we do design these specifically with our consumers and travel advisors in mind. And then finally, this 4th piece here, what makes it a Princess Alaska cruise? It's our authentic experiences. So obviously, when you're in Alaska, you experience everything that we have to offer here, but also we bring some of those experiences on ship through our North to Alaska programming. So this includes things like Libby Riddles coming on board. She was the first woman to win the Iditarod. We also have lumberjacks that come on board, a plethora of seafood that we'll bring on board as well. And then we've also developed this program a little bit more at our lodges as well. And part of that reason is to make sure that you guys get the opportunity to really have that hands-on immersive experience. All right. So I think next up is we'll talk about our 2026 fleet a little bit more.
Yes. What ships?
What ships? So the big one is the Star Princess.
Yeah. I'm so excited about that.
Super exciting. She has the capacity for about 4,300 guests and over 30 bars and restaurants. I know food is a big reason. We've
Yes.
also made sure that she's on that round trip Seattle deployment. So
Okay.
yeah, it's
Nice and
one of the
easy.
super easy, great. Seattle's just lovely.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And
And
then
then,
for those that may not know,
mhm,
Star Princess is the sister ship to our Sun Princess,
yes.
which just came and joined us in 2024. Star Princess joins us in fall of 25. And that way she's going to do a Caribbean and a Mediterranean season. And then come summer of 26, that's when she's joining us in Alaska. So we're super excited about that news. We can't say how excited we are, honestly, to have one of our crown jewels, one of the brand new ships from Princess sailing Alaska.
Yeah, and she has a lot of balconies too, which is
A lot of
phenomenal.
balconies. And she's built for the views, right? Sun and Star are both built for viewing. So it's going to be phenomenal to be in Alaska.
And I think we might have a short video on this. I'm not sure.
Let's see. Surprise us, Joe.
I don't have one. Sorry.
The voice from above. Okay,
voice
Joe, it's okay.
All right. All good.
Let's
So
talk.
we're
I want to talk Sanctuary
Yeah.
Collection just really
gonna-
quickly.
Please.
So both on Sun and Star Princess. So we just announced not too long ago, maybe a little over a month ago, about the Sanctuary Collection that is on the Sun and the soon to be arriving Star Princess. So Sanctuary Collection is the ability to book a subset. First of all of our suites will be Sanctuary Collection. We've also included some mini suites, some balconies as also Sanctuary Collection, so that families traveling together that want to have the Sanctuary Collection experience can do that without having to buy multiple suites. You can actually buy some other stateroom types as well. But that Sanctuary Collection gives you dedicated access to the sanctuary. That's for 16 kids 16 years of age and older, so that it's pretty much adult only. It also gives you dedicated dining room, and you can dine at your own pace. You don't have to make reservations. It's very easy and hassle-free. Access to the suite lounge. That is a dedicated lounge, which has aft spectacular views. My favorite view is the wake view, and we put that suite lounge in the aft of the ship. So you can see those wonderful wake views while you're enjoying your morning coffee in the lounge. And there's so many other things. So there's lots to talk about with Sanctuary Collection. So I'm not going to go too crazy on that. But there's more to learn and to find out about Sanctuary Collection on OneSource and on princess.com.
Wow, I'm sold, Marcia.
There's a lot to talk about. And I don't want to go too heavy because this is all about Alaska.
Completely understand. So bringing us back to Alaska, we do have the 8 ships. The top ones right here on the slide. You got Coral Island, Grand, and Discovery. These are the 4 that will be doing the Voyage of the Glaciers route, so going into mainland. And then the Inside Passage one. So Emerald, Ruby, Royal, Discovery, and obviously Star. And Marcia, I'm not sure if you want to talk a little bit more about what makes Medallion class on our ships that much more of an incredible guest experience.
Yeah, you know what? So I'm super excited that I've been kind of eyeing the comments as you're talking, and there's a lot of like comments about Medallion class before we even got to that slide to talk about it.
Cool.
And it does make the experience on board our ships a game changer for all destinations, but especially Alaska. It gives you delivery wherever you are. The wireless queue room stateroom entry is by far the most popular. It's probably the most understated thing that you would probably experience, but it is a game changer that you don't have a card key, that your door recognizes that you're nearby and like unlocks like right before you get there. It's amazing because as you can see from that little small picture there, our hands are often full with goodies. How are you supposed to open the door when you have all your goodies in your hands? So there's just so many things. Best Wi-Fi, and we had a real commitment to improving. Our president, John Pageant, had a real commitment to improving our Wi-Fi in Alaska. And I am so proud to say that they achieved that. The Wi-Fi is spectacular in Alaska, which is a hard thing to accomplish, but we have accomplished it. Let's show a little video about what's also special about having Medallion class in Alaska.
Why would you want your drinks to find you, not the other way around? Wow, that's why. On Princess, orders come to you wherever you are. The Princess Medallion class experience, only on Princess, exclusively for everyone.
Absolutely.
Love
So
that
I they didn't have to leave that section, right? They just use the app or one of the crew members and ask for something. It gets delivered to where they are, and you don't miss out on all the wonders of Alaska.
And I think there are times where it may link to on land.
Yeah, absolutely. So pay rewards, right? So you get 7% back as an onboard credit with purchases at select retailers in Alaska, as well as some of our other ports that we visit. But specifically to Alaska, because since that's our topic. So you use the medallion for purchase ashore in Alaska ports, and the individual vendors that are participating, there is a medallion icon in their window so that you can tell that that is a vendor that is working with this program. And all you do is purchase with the medallion while you're in the store. When you get back on ship, you've got a 7% onboard credit based on the dollar amount of your purchase, excluding tax, of course, but based on the dollar amount of your purchase already on your folio for use on board the ship. It's pretty amazing.
That is, and when I was in Skagway, I saw the little symbols on the stores. So it's really cool to see that come to life. All right. So we're going to go on and keep talking about Alaska. One of our amazing ways we see Alaska is through these round trip cruises. And I think I mentioned this already, but we do have options from Seattle, San Fran, Vancouver, and even LA. And then the one cool part about Star is that she is on our 7-day Inside Passage round trip Seattle, and she will be able to, you guys will be able to see Endicott and Dawes Glacier.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, super exciting. And then one of the ports that she'll be at is Ketchikan. So I believe we have a short video here that we wanted to roll.
You feel the wind, the smells of the cedar and the alder blooming, the tide when it's out. It's almost like sensory overload sometimes. You feel blanketed by all the life.
Small town, people know each other's names. You've got access to water, you got access to mountains. You're in an isolated area. You're just thinking about how big that salmon is you're going to be catching this weekend when you can get off from work.
40, 60-pound salmon, and 100, 200-pound halibuts, king crab, huge.
You can look at all the pictures you want of Alaska, the glaciers, the eagles. Until that's right there, you are not going to get that heartfelt part of it.
There's a lot of variety. There's all kinds of tours and different mediums to see things, and I don't feel that anyone could make a mistake recommending coming here.
Wow, these videos like really take me there.
They tug at your heart too. They really do.
I know. This is fantastic. So one of the other itineraries I wanted to mention is a 7-day Inside Passage with Glacier Bay. It's out of our 7-day sailing out of on Saturday and Sunday out of Seattle, and they do typically include a late night call in Juneau, which is fantastic. And then we also have our Vancouver round trip Inside Passage. This will be on Emerald Princess, also on Discovery and Coral. They do stop at Juneau as well. And we have our 10-day Inside Passage round trip San Fran. So what's super cool about this one is a little bit longer of an itinerary, a little bit long, it's by 3 days, I would say, than our typical 7 days. A couple more days at sea, but you are able to go under the bridge. So you'll go under the Golden Gate on your way out and on your way in, which is a highlight for a lot of our guests.
It really is.
And then there are some of the sailings that will go to Glacier Bay National Park on this itinerary as well. And then here's something that I would love to share with you because of Juneau. I believe
You're home.
Yes, I know. That is the Mendenhall Glacier in the back. I believe we may have a video on this one as well.
For someone that has relatively limited time to come visit Alaska, it's one of those rare places in the world where this location offers so much in such a small area. A lot of times our guests will come do our excursion in the morning and then go be 10 feet from the humpback whale breaching in the afternoon.
When they come up, and their eye's about this big, and you see your reflection in the eye, We're surrounded by epic mountains right from sea level all the way up to 4,000 feet. We have a glacier in our backyard.
Your experience in Juneau gets you in touch with a very Alaskan experience.
I like this word called Ashigenya. It's a Tlingit word. But Ashigenya is our connection to everything that is around us. The spirit that is in everything, in trees, in the clouds, just in everything, and the spirit that connects us both here today.
Amazing. Amazing. Hey,
Marsha, have you
Vivi's-
been to Juneau?
I have been to Juneau. I
Okay.
have, yeah. Vivi's Voyages is asking if the videos that we're showing are available on OneSource or on YouTube. I believe they're on both. If they're not on OneSource yet, they will be very soon because we love these videos. We found them ourselves and we're like, we've got to share this. So yeah, more videos coming for you.
Awesome. So this next itinerary is 11-day inside passage with Glacier Bay. It does include a couple ports that are, I would say, lesser known or less visited. The first one being Icy Strait Point and the second one being Haines. I was actually in Haines earlier this year before the actual season started, just to get a sense of how things were going over there. This port is a little less developed, but I think what's awesome about it is it still brings in that more authentic feel of Alaska. So I highly recommend Haines.
Less touristy, right?
Yeah, it is. And
yeah.
you can totally tell when you walk off
Hey,
the ship. So.
Before we go to Skagway, can I ask, do you have an excursion that you recommend for Juneau?
I do. I have so many of them. So I'll do. There's one with Temsco helicopters where you fly to a glacier. It's absolutely stunning. You actually will fly over where I live. So I'll wave you. But there's another one that a lot of people like to go on, and it's our whale watching. So Juneau is really known for whale watching. You can see humpbacks. I believe there's even a humpback sighting guarantee. That's how many there are in this area.
Oh, wow.
I know, it's incredible. And then the third one is Taku Lodge. So Taku Lodge is another, it's a small propane away. And then you actually land at a lodge and you get the salmon bake. So if you like seafood, it's a really good opportunity for you. And it's in this like old school, really authentic Alaskan wood log structure. And you just get to experience some time out there. You see 5 different glaciers on the way out. So it's just a beautiful experience.
I think I did this one.
Did you?
Because I came home, I had the best salmon of my life. And I asked, like, what did you put on the salmon? And they had like a butter honey sauce that they put on it. Yeah,
nice.
And I've been doing my salmon that way ever since. That was like 10 years ago.
Nice. Oh, yes, we have fantastic seafood here.
Sorry, I wanted to ask. Since being here in Juneau, right? Like, give them some insider tips on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate the question. So I think the next one is a spotlight on Skagway, and I believe we have a video in this as well.
That explosion of that moment in time when it was the biggest place in Alaska. The echoes of that are what you see in the buildings and hear in the sound of the boardwalks as you walk. Hear it in the honky-tonk piano, those ghosts that blow through with every wind, north or south. Skagway recreates that every single day, all summer, year after year after year. For the last century, it's done that.
That's why people came, because gold is the magic draw. And then you get up here and look at the place, and it's like, oh my God, yeah. When you walk up to the top of a mountain and you look off in every direction, the wilderness just goes on uninterrupted for as far as you can see.
Where's the gold? Where's the story? Alaska's gold is the incredibly unique storyline.
This place has the ability to kind of restore your heart and your soul to what it used to be.
I love these. I know
It's hard to come back to the present moment.
I think this is some of what you've been speaking to, Mary, about, our ability to even put together a video like that is because of our relationships and the time that we've spent in Alaska, and that, you don't just visit Alaska. Like, we bring Alaska on board the ships as well. So like every time I watch one of those videos, it just reminds me of, the relationships that we have in that area. And that's what really brings it home for everyone.
Yeah, you said it perfectly, Marsha. And So we're taking a look at this 16-day inside passage with Glacier Bay. And Marsha, this one's for you. So this is a round trip LA.
Yay!
A few more days at sea. It also includes Sitka and Icy Strait Point with late night stays in Juneau and Victoria.
All right. You guys asked for this, and I begged for it.
Yes, you did.
Book it, book it, book it.
And Marsha made sure we heard that. So
yes, I did.
Awesome. So we do have the 20-day Ultimate Alaska Solstice Cruise. This will happen over the summer solstice, as it's named. 9 ports to call, 4 days of glacier viewing. This is one of those itineraries that goes a little bit further. Again, it goes to a couple of the ports we typically don't go to as frequently. So Valdez, Icy Strait Point, Anchorage, etc. And so I will have a quick video on Haines.
Yeah.
You want to go ahead and play that one?
It really seems like we're this little bubble and that we live very differently than most people in America today live. And I like that. I get inspired like every day.
It's just ever changing, I think, is the only way to put it into words. The light's always different on the mountains and on the trees and on the river.
I've started to say when people ask me what Haines looks like, I tend to say, well, it looks like Switzerland with a beach.
It's kind of an adventurer's dream place. And there's so much out there to see that people used to have, decades and centuries ago in the lower 48. And when you live in a place like Haines, you're never more than 10 minutes from the wilderness.
Living in a place like this is unique enough that it should be documented on some level so that someday, like they say, like in our town, years from now, someone will open up a time capsule and say, this is the way they lived in Haines, Alaska, and Southeast Alaska in those years. And wasn't that something?
It's amazing. I was going to comment again on that 20-day because it's really, it's an itinerary for those who have been to Alaska possibly more than once. And it's so different, and it's going to see things that you may not have seen on your previous visits. And I'm seeing in the comments, like my friend Cheryl, I love seeing comments from people I know, but my friend Cheryl is saying she sold 2 of those 20 days this morning. So yeah, thanks, Cheryl.
Love it. So the third way, if you look to the furthest right on this slide, that we visit Alaska with Princess is through our cruise tours. So I'm going to break cruise tours down a little bit to make sure we're all on the same page. A cruise tour starts or ends with a 7-day voyage of the glacier cruise. So on these cruises, you'll have 2 days of scenic glacier cruising. And what that looks like is this. Actually, I'm going to skip to the next slide. What it looks like is this path. So if you leave from Seattle or Vancouver here, you'll actually go up around to Skagway. And if you keep going up, you'll head over to Whittier. So really what this slide is trying to communicate is the difference or the addition of what the inside passage looks like, which we will take as a part of Voyage to the Glaciers cruise all the way up to Whittier, Anchorage. And then throughout the Voyage of the Glaciers cruise, you'll have an opportunity to maybe see Hubbard Glacier, which is just expansive. It's incredibly all-encompassing, or call it College Fjord, which is equally as beautiful. As you can see in these 2 pictures, it actually looks like this. There's a very beautiful blue hue. And obviously, just experience the glacier. It's just this peaceful, tranquil type of experience. Sometimes you'll see it calving. You'll oftentimes see seals or different types of wildlife, even laying on the glaciers or on the floating ice around the glacier.
Wow.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I think to help bring that to life, we actually have a short video on glaciers.
I love it. I love that there's a video with the calving because I was going to try and explain that. And it's hard to explain.
Yes.
So there's a video on it.
Yeah, some things are just easier when you can visualize it.
Mhm.
I love it. All right. So I briefly touched on this before, but one thing that Princess does really, really well is our onboard programming. Our onboard teams are experts at this. And so they are bringing North to Alaska, our programming in Alaska, to life on ship. You can do things such as talk with rangers in Glacier Bay. You can meet puppies for Puppies in the Piazza. There's a lot of seafood. You can do Cook My Catch, which is going out on an excursion. You actually catch that fish, then you bring it back on board, and it's prepared for you.
I
There's
want
a
to do
number-
that.
Yeah.
I want to do that really bad. Does anyone need a guarantee that I can catch a fish? That's the question.
Well, I wish you all the luck in the world.
Thank you.
But I'm sure you'll get one, Marcia.
Thank
And
you.
you should send us pictures when you do try it.
I am. I will take lots of pictures.
Yeah, please. Another part of our Alaska programming is really focusing on Wild for Alaska seafood. And this is really around making sure that we're using sustainable fisheries, making sure that we're doing the right things when it comes to seafood on board. Here's a very cute picture of our puppies in the piazza.
I'm going to ask, what port are we in when we bring the puppies on board?
Skagway.
In Skagway. Okay.
Yeah.
And I have this really cool story that someone shared with me that last season, the winner of the Iditarod, and his name escapes me, but he won the Iditarod, and he was part of our program, and he was one of the people who'd bring puppies onto the ships for us. And one of those puppies that was in his team was the lead dog that won the Iditarod with him. It's an amazing story. And I think the other piece is about the socialization, right? So the story they tell us and share with us is that we're helping the dogs in the socialization piece of it because they're getting used to being handled and seen by other people other than just their handler. And it's a win-win. And we're very careful and very concerned about the well-being of these puppies. They get lots of rest. And I can speak to that because when I did this, my puppy was dead sleep. And we do not rouse them. He needed to rest. And I have a lovely picture with my puppy, and he's sleeping on a pillow. So we take great care of the puppies.
Good. How amazing. Another part, as you can see, of our North Alaska programming is axe throwing. So you can try your hand at that. And then we also have where in Glacier Bay, some of the National Park Rangers come on board. So you can see with the hat, the ranger is sharing a little bit more about the location with our guests. I think I mentioned the sled dog puppies and now the sled dogs. Libby Riddles, the first woman to win the Iditarod, she'll come on board and talk with a lot of folks. And she's super interactive and a lot of people have questions. And she just has this amazing story that she tells. So it's definitely a highlight for our guests. And then this slide, Marcia, teed it up just for you.
This is me.
Your Cook My Catch.
This is me in the future. I'm going to be fishing.
Yeah.
I'm going to catch my fish and I'm going to serve it up in the dining room. And I will share. I will share with how big that is. I will share with others.
Everyone book a cruise with Marcia.
That's an amazing opportunity that the chef prepares the fish you caught that day. You can't get fresher than that. That's for sure.
No, exactly right. Exactly. And one thing we know that folks like to do or want to see when they come to Alaska is the Northern Lights experience. And at the lodges, we will set an alarm and you can sign up for an alarm if they come out during the day, or I should say during the night. But because there's a lot of sun during the long days, it can be tougher to see them. So what we've done instead is we've worked with a couple of our partners and we said, how do we bring this experience to life on board? And one way we're doing that is through a show of the Northern Lights. So it's part of our onboard programming, something to experience. And I think it's been over pretty well this year. We did offer it on every single ship.
Oh, good. I'm learning something new.
Yeah, which exactly. So it allows everyone to see it and experience them. There's also a junior ranger program. Kids can learn a lot about the different locations that they're currently in and then locations you can go, also put on by the National Park Service and really focused on the Glacier Bay area.
This is part of that. We don't just go to Alaska, we bring Alaska to you, right?
Yep, exactly. Exactly. And here's a few more pictures of other things that we do here in Southeast. As you can see, we have some zip lining. We also have some of the cultures here that we like to share experiences with our guests. There's obviously wildlife with the bear and that salmon, which looks incredibly big. The helicopter experience that I mentioned before, and also totem poles. And then finally, we'll kind of talk through our cruise tour program. So a little bit more in depth about our cruise tours in the land portion. We have over 25 different itineraries, and there's 5 different types of cruise tours. So I'll break those down a little bit more. 100% of our cruise tours will visit Glacier Bay and Denali, and we have 5 Princess-owned wilderness lodges. We also have a product that goes to all 5 national parks, which I think has been a highlight with our fans.
Yeah, and that came from a travel advisor's suggestion, actually.
Yes, it did. It did.
Yeah.
So just to make sure we're all on the same page about what a cruise tour is, the cruise itself is a voyage of the glaciers. We also include rail. So this is a really awesome part of what Princess does best. We've taken our legacy relationships in Alaska. We've worked with Alaska Railroad. Alaska Railroad was obviously an important part to our state. And so we wanted to share that experience with our guests. And so what you see in this picture is our ship alongside our Princess Rail, where we'll take folks from the ship all the way into Denali, which is around the heart of Alaska, in one day.
And the other beautiful thing about this that I think doesn't get enough accolades is the handling of the luggage, right? So I've
Yes.
heard so many people have these wonderful stories of like we left our bags, and when we got to each lodge, our bags were there waiting for us. Like we didn't have to handle them, we didn't have any troubles with them, and people speak highly of that process. So you guys are nailing it.
Yeah, it's a bit like magic.
Yeah. Real
Awesome.
magic.
Yeah, real magic. And I can't speak. Oh, go ahead.
So we got a question. How long is the train ride?
So it depends on which cruise tour you're on, which itinerary you're going on, but it can be anywhere between 6 to 10 hours, give or take. There are times when our train has to pull off to the side to let another train pass. And there are times when depending on which lodge you're going to, we may, it might just take a little bit longer because it's physically further away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love these pictures.
I know. I can't speak highly enough about our rail. Our rail, to me, is one of the quintessential pieces of what our cruise tour is. What I love most is the 360-degree view that you get because of our glass domes. It's very picturesque. So as you're going through Alaska, you will see wildlife most likely. There's panoramic views of just Hurricane Gulch, all these different types of tundra, so different types of trees, the elevation changes, the mountains in the background. There are individual outdoor viewing platforms. And a couple of days ago, I stood on the back of one to feel the wind kind of take your hair away, and you just feel like all the stress in the world has just flown away. It's one of the most impeccable feelings. But those open air viewing platforms are in between each car. So you can just kind of get up whenever you want and go outside.
Get fresh air.
Get fresh air. It is phenomenal. And then the other part that I love is on the bottom floor of the train car, over the rail car, there are options for you to dine there. So you can get breakfast or lunch there. We have things like that are very authentic in terms of Alaskan themes. And so our award-winning reindeer chili, there's some different types of Alaskan beer on board. And so it's just very fun, casual, and it's a great way to experience kind of the heart of Alaska as you go through.
Right.
And then the final part of what makes an Alaska cruise tour with Princess is you stop and you stay at one of our lodges. Most of our cruise tour lodges will go into Denali, or cruise tours, I should say, will go into Denali National Park, and you'll stay at one of our nearby lodges. And so I will actually touch on each of those lodges very quickly here. Denali is our core lodge. I don't know why that slide just flipped, so I apologize. Overlook a river, and then you're actually looking into Denali National Park. The Princess was specifically built and designed to take a look at Denali the mountain.
Wow.
A stunning view. And then Copper River. This is one of the lodges that's, I would say, off the beaten path, and literally within our cruise tour category, off the beaten path, you may stay at Copper River. And Kenai is well known for being super authentic. So each room has its own fireplace. It has a back porch where you can walk out on, and the views overlooking the Kenai River. It's beautiful. And then finally, last but not least, is Fairbanks. Fairbanks overlooks the Chena River. They have a beautiful garden to table garden outside, or food to table garden.
Mhm.
It's just one of those stops that gets you to the airport or to start you on your journey with us.
And just a reminder, these lodges are owned and operated by Princess. So that's our commitment to Alaska and to giving you the best of Alaska is having these lodges in our folio.
Yep.
Hey,
And
okay, and you're gonna get mad at me.
please.
If I ask you, do you have a favorite lodge?
My favorite. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna give you a generic answer. And
Okay.
it's because I just came back from them. It is each lodge has its own personality. It has its own vibe. It has its own look, tone, and feel. And so for me, I love them all.
For different reasons, right?
Out of an answer.
Got it. Kind of like kids.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And here's a visual to show you kind of how far away each of our lodges are, which I think does a great job of just showing, look, we really have a great footprint within Alaska. Here's some photos that help bring it to life a little bit more. So middle of the screen, you'll see an airplane. That's at Mount McKinley. Right below that is Kenai. Fanny Q's in the bottom right corner. That's at Denali. So these are some of those pictures that I think help bring the lodges to life. And so I believe we will have a video sooner or later that will, again, kind of show what that experience is at each one. The next thing I will hit on is Denali's Big Five. So just like an African safari has a Big Five, in Alaska, I should say, we have kind of the Denali Big Five. So you're always on the lookout for moose, bear, wolves, Dall sheep, or a caribou. One of our most popular option when it comes to cruise tour categories is our Denali Explorer cruise tours. These literally go to Denali. They're the most sought out, and you can't forget what they're called because Denali is literally in the name of them. Off the beaten path. So remember I said Copper and Kenai, they are literally off that beaten path. When you look at the map, this shows, how folks will go from north to south or south to north. Off the beaten path tend to be a little bit longer of a stay, and you get to go to really cool places such as checking out Wrangell St. Elias or Kenai Fjords National Park, so two of the national parks. And speaking of national parks,
quick question.
Please.
Janice wants to know, is Mount McKinley Lodge in Talkeetna? If not, how far is it from the town?
That's a good question. It's not in Talkeetna in terms of like physically being within the town. We were just there, and I think it took us maybe an hour 45 minutes, give or take.
Okay.
But don't quote me on that, Janice. I can follow up with you afterwards.
Okay. Thank
I was
you.
talking a
that's
lot
good gauge.
during the drive. Yeah. So, but such a great question. We do offer some excursions out of Talkeetna too. So there's one that's really cool. It's a riverboat. I would check that one out.
Okay, great.
Cool. So then to touch on the National Parks Cruise Tour, it's a 15-night cruise tour. It does go to 5 of the national parks. And as Marcia mentioned, this was brought to our attention by some of our travel advisors. So those 5 national parks are Glacier Bay, and then obviously Denali, then Kenai Fjords down in Kenai, Kennecott Explorer. This one's in Wrangell St. Elias National Park. I was just there. This one is tough to get to. So it's a place that is hard for most people to go. But once you get there, you're going to say, oh my gosh, this is a once in a lifetime kind of opportunity.
Wow.
The town itself is just frozen in time. It's almost like a ghost town. It's just incredible. I'd highly recommend this tour. And then the 5th one is the Klondike Gold Rush National Park in Skagway. So let's see. On this slide, we do give you the opportunity to stay at most of our lodges within this cruise tour pattern. And it's something that I believe we will continue into the future because a lot of people like this cruise tour pattern. The next thing I'll talk about is that kind of final cruise tour category, which is our connoisseur cruise tours. This one tends to have the highest level of service. We offer a tour director on land, and then most of your meals are included. So Marcia, I think you may have worked more or less with Judy Kale previously, but she's one of our expert tour directors.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, Judy Kale was a member of our sales team for over 40 years. Like she just has so much history with the company and such a love for Alaska. And she was our go-to kind of Alaska guru, right? And she would do presentations for our travel advisors. And when I first saw her present, we were at a sales meeting and she presented and she did what she does for our travel advisors. And she's talking about Alaska or possibly even doing a consumer event. And she dresses like she dressed up like she was a local in Alaska. Like she had on like the tour guide and she talks like she's there. And I literally got goosebumps from hearing Judy tell her story about Alaska. But she retired from her position as a business development manager and then decided, I'm actually not done. I love Alaska so much. She became an actual tour director. And so she actually gives tours. This is a picture of her on board one of the rail cars. And she's with a connoisseur group that she's leading through Alaska. And so she did it last summer. She signed on again. She's doing it again this summer. And so if you are ever lucky enough to have Judy Kale as your tour director, please tell her hi.
Oh, Judy.
Hey, Judy. So she is a phenomenal guide and expert. And I would trust her with a baby kitten. Like she's going to do a phenomenal job with, taking care of you and telling you all the wonderful things about Alaska. I honestly don't know of anyone who knows it better than Judy. So thanks, Judy, for sharing these pictures with us. It just really speaks to our love as a company of Alaska.
Yeah, I agree. And I had the opportunity to meet Judy, I think it was last summer here in Juneau. And when you meet her, she just exudes Alaska. She is quintessential Alaska, loves it. So
yeah, and I want to read her quote. It says, so when I was outside, meaning when she was part of our sales team, number one in Alaska was an accolade. And that's what we talked about, an important accolade. But now that I'm here, I see that it's a truth that is proven daily. So like huge stamp of approval from Judy. Thanks, Judy. I didn't know she was going to be on the call. I'm super excited.
I know, neither did I. I love it when fun surprises like that happen along the way.
Yeah.
All right. So for those of you who want it all, here's the top of the line connoisseur. It's the Ultimate Princess Alaska Cruise Tour. And it really does live up to its name. It's a 17-night cruise tour, includes the 7-day cruise, 2 nights at all 5 of our princess lodges. Also fully escorted with our tour director, and most meals are included. For guests who really want to see the best of Alaska, this cruise tour is a ticket.
Yeah. Hey, I'm just going to call out. Sorry, Liz Mead says the group picture that we showed with Judy, that was her group, and it was Judy's first year as the guide.
Aww.
Incredible ties. Thank you for sharing that, Liz.
That's phenomenal.
Sorry,
I
interrupted
interrupted
you.
No, this is perfect. And then for the cruise tours that don't have meals included, you can purchase a meal plan. So they are prepaid meal packages for your land portion of the cruise tour itself. And it helps it become a little bit more of a seamless experience, especially when you're coming from ship where everything's included to the land portion. And the meals can include breakfast, lunch, and dinner as well.
So Joyce has a stamp of approval for the Ultimate Cruise Tour too. She said she did it last year.
Okay.
And it was the best one she's ever done.
Aw, yay. And some of it too is just being able to spend a little bit more time. When you spend a little bit more in time on land, Alaska tends to unfold around you. Whether that means there's a bear crossing the road or you get to do another land excursion. There is an element of have the resources to be here a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Alaska.
Well, you just shared with us because someone asked you, did you get to see Denali, right? Did you get to see the mountain, right? What did you share with us? You said one day it was a little rainy and cloudy and you didn't get to see it, but the next day she was out brilliant and bright. So the longer you're there, the better the opportunity, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the first day it was raining, and the second day she was out. So
Yeah. Can you purchase individual meals at the restaurant?
yes, yes, you can.
Yeah. So you can either do the meal package, or you can decide to go a la carte and purchase separately.
Yeah. All right. So one other thing that Princess does really well is we work with the National Park Service, and we deliver national park tours in Denali. There are two types of them. There's a Denali Natural History Tour, and there's also the Tundra Wilderness Tour. Most of our cruise tours include a park tour. Make sure you book early. You can also order a box lunch at one of the lodges.
We highly recommend ordering a box lunch because it's a full day, right?
It's a long
quite
day.
hungry when you get back if you don't.
So here are a few tips for choosing a cruise tour. When you think about when you're trying to purchase this product, or your clients are trying to purchase this product, think about how much time they have to spend. Do they want to do land before cruise or cruise before land? Is there a ship preference? So in 2026, because there's 4 ships, you have a little bit more choice, and you're able to select the ship that maybe speaks to you most. The other parts are you interested in going to more remote lodges? So Kenai, which is scored very highly, and Copper, which is scored highly as well, also a little bit more off the beaten path. And then what kind of experience do you want to have in Denali? Do you want the full longer tour, which is a Tundra Wilderness Tour, or maybe you want to spend a few more nights at one of the specific lodges? So some of these end up being a personalized decision. But here's just a couple of tips for, as you're thinking through which cruise tour you want to choose.
So there's a question from Janice. If the Denali Explorer Tour has the history tour included, but my guests want the wilderness tour, can I change the tour for them?
You should be able to. I believe for the Denali Explorer, we'll include the natural history tour, and then as an upgrade, you can do the Tundra Wilderness Tour.
I do remember that. That is true. You can do that. Yes.
Yeah. So if you want to change it, feel free to call in to our delightful call center folks. And we can help kind of arrange that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And here's a beautiful example or a compiled slide of some of the land excursions that we offer. A couple that I just did was one, I don't see it listed here, but I was able to go on a whitewater rafting trip, which is super fun. And then we did K2. So the K2 is one of our aviation companies that we work with. So we were able to fly into Denali National Park, and that was breathtaking. And then you might wonder, when's the best time to go? So
get your cameras out, because this is a very popular slide. Someone is going to ask me for it later.
That's so funny. But it is one of the questions we get the most, right? So our season up here in Alaska is typically May through September. Depending on what you really want to see or what you want to do may depend on when you decide to go. So as an example, if you're really into fishing, or if you're fishing for a specific type of salmon, you might want to come in June or July when some of the cohos show up, or maybe even the kings are showing up May, June. Obviously, you'll be able to see bears across the entire season, but a lot of the black bears are coming down to the water or the ocean and eating on some of the salt grass. And then as the salmon start to flow in, they'll be munching on the salmon as well, but that's a little bit later in the year. And then orcas up here in Southeast, we often see them chasing the Chinook or the king salmon. So we'll see them May, June, July. And then obviously during the summer, we've got some folks who have kids who will come up because they're on summer break, June through August. And then if you're looking for a better value, oftentimes you'll find that value in May or September.
And I'll just share that the star denotes possibly, because we can never promise, but possibly the best times, right, to see a certain aspect of Alaska.
Perfect. So for 2026, I want to make this quick call out. Book early and save.
Early. So I'm going to chime in. I am going to chime in on this one because we have the best prices now. So you definitely want to book now for Alaska 2026. We've got a current deal as you're saving up to 40% off, and we have a reduced deposit for you too. So we also don't forget that we have the better than best pricing guarantee, which if you find a better offering on princess.com prior to final payment on your booking, and you let us know, there's a form you can fill out to let us know that that's happened, and we will give you 120% of that difference in an onboard credit. So that's the best price guarantee. You can book early with confidence. And then plus the fact that our past guests are getting up to a $200 savings per stateroom for the first and second guest as well.
Thank you, Marcia. That was perfect.
Yeah. And open your groups. And I saw some questions about whether groups are open yet. I thought that they opened at the same time that we opened to loyalty. But if it is not open right now, it will be open August 1st. I'm going to go double check that and we'll make sure we know, but it should be open now. So I would say try to book your groups now.
Awesome. And so we do have the 2025 Alaska brochure to help. We know that Alaska can be a complex product to sell. And so feel free to grab your phone, take a screenshot of the QR code. The brochure is available on OneSource and princess.com. Our 2026 brochure is coming soon as well.
Got it.
There are other Alaska tools that are available for you. Here's a list of them. A lot of things such as the meal plan flyer, the cruiser reference guide, they're up on OneSource as well. We started an Inside Alaska page, and why I felt very strongly about this is because there's so much of Alaska that it's hard to kind of take in all the information all at once. So if there's a way for us to just constantly drip feed you information, this page is your hub for Alaska content.
Very cool.
Last but not least, here is our Alaska expert. It's part of the Princess Academy. If you really want to know more about Alaska, become certified as a Princess Alaska expert, this is on OneSource as well. And then I think one of our call to actions here is to vote today for the Travel Weekly Reader's Choice Awards. The first round of voting has begun.
Yes. So you can use your cell phone and scan this QR code here, and you can vote for us as #1 in Alaska. We were listed there for several other things, but like I said, our crown jewel is always all about Alaska. So we appreciate your vote for Travel Weekly Reader Choice Awards. So we're going to go quickly. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Marcia. Appreciate it.
For all those insights. You're going to stick around and answer a couple questions with me at the end. So don't go anywhere, anybody. I know we're running a little bit over. We appreciate you sticking with us, and we are recording it if you have to jump. But news and notes, just a reminder about the double the credits offer that's going on currently. So that is book a cruise departing between August 1st and December 1st of 2024. And book that with Plus or Premier, and you're getting double the credits towards your loyalty level. That's an amazing opportunity. And I'm just going to also call out the fact that you are going to automatically get this if you had previously made a booking during that time period and purchased Plus or Premier. So it's an opportunity for you if maybe you already have a sailing with us during that time, August 1 and December 1, and you only booked standard. If you upgrade to Plus or Premier, you will qualify. You do have to upgrade more than 48 hours prior to you sailing for this to account. You can't do it within the 2 days, and you cannot do it on board in order to get the double loyalty credit. So do it now so that you can qualify. We have the Love Boat early booking sale. So we just talked about this a few minutes ago, but it's available through August 28th. This is the best price to book Alaska 2026. So make sure that you guys are on top of it and finding the opportunities and the voyages you want, looking at those cruise tours and getting that cruise tour booked. And then we talked about the better than best price guarantee, but just as a reminder, qualifying cruises booked between July 1 and September 2nd. If you find the lower price that I talked about earlier, for the identical cruise on princess.com, you get 120% of the difference as the onboard credit. There is a form you have to fill out in order to get that, and it's available on princess.com and on OneSource. And then a little bit about hot deals. So fares from $105 per day for a 9-day Explorer. This is the beautiful, is this our Sun Princess? I don't see the ship. Oh, there it is. It's in pink. Sorry, I didn't see it. Sun Princess 9-day explorer, Barcelona to Southampton from London. There's an overnight stay in Southampton. Plus, it has the calls to Seville, Mallorca, and Cartagena. So that's actually a really nice deal. I'm going to say it because not enough people say this. You can't get a hotel for $105 per day, right? Can't get a hotel for that. You're definitely not going to eat for $105 per day. You're going to have a hotel room only. And this is a phenomenal deal to be able to cruise and see this beautiful section of the world on the beautiful Sun Princess. And then another one is $99 per day, which is the 14-day search for Northern Lights. It's round trip Southampton, so it's got nice and easy air. It's September 24th and on the beautiful Caribbean Princess. You get an overnight stay in Alta, plus there's late nights in Termoso and Lofton Islands. So it's an amazing opportunity, amazing itinerary. And again, you can't beat $99 per day on anything. We've got the 17-day Antarctica. It's round trip Buenos Aires. That's December 18th of this year on the beautiful Sapphire Princess. I was on her a couple of months ago, and she is truly beautiful. You get 4 days of scenic cruising of the Antarctica, and you're on for Christmas and New Year's. So this would be a wonderful way to spend the holidays for 2024. Don't forget about World Cruise. You don't know if someone would want to take the World Cruise unless you talk to them about it, unless you talk to your friends and you say, hey, and there's a lot of new people interested in World Cruises. So just make sure you're talking it up. The sailings are 15, we have segments, that are 15 to 33 days, a variety of regions to choose from. So the Med, Australia and Africa, Panama Canal, South Pacific, and Hawaii. So you can sell these in segments. So if someone didn't have the time for a full world cruise, you could break it up for them and they can get some pieces of that. We have the 2024 and 2025, as well as the 25 and 26 destination collection available. There's another little QR code for you to take you to where you can order those brochures today. You can always visit princess.com or One Source Cruises if you're our partner travel advisor to order brochures from Princess. And that destination collection has all things Princess, all of our itineraries, all of our voyage options. So we're going to take some Q&A.
And before we do that, if it's possible,
yes,
I took a second to look and see how far we had traveled from McKinley to Tucson, and it's about an hour, give or take. Yes. So
you said it's
sorry,
about
it's a
an hour?
long-winded way of getting the answer, but
you said about an hour, 1 hour?
Yeah, about 55 minutes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking.
Of course.
Okay. So as always, when you guys register, you're able to ask us some pre-registration questions. So I look through those and I pull out the ones that I think are sometimes they've been asked many times. And so that's a popular one and we should cover it. And then sometimes it's a unique one. And so we pop them in and try to answer those for you. So here's the first one. Does Princess have the package in Anchorage with 1 night of Captain Cook? The question went away. Joe's trigger happy at the Captain Cook Hotel and then the train out to Whittier. Do we have that?
Yes, we do. Yep.
Okay.
And we will have it for 2025 and 2026 as well.
Perfect. Okay. And then we're just putting up the QR codes again because I moved a little quickly through that. And so if you didn't have a chance to get them, they're here for you while we answer the questions. Okay. Does Princess offer specialized training to agents in the area of disability awareness on the ships and preparation for clients? That is an excellent question. And I actually did a little research on it. And while we don't have a dedicated Academy module on it, we did think that was a really good question. And we are now considering adding a dedicated Academy module on accessible traveling with Princess. But in the meantime, we do have a fantastic brochure that is about accessible travel with Princess. That is on OneSource as well and on princess.com. You can download the digital version of that, or you can order some to have them in your office. We just updated this. Anne, who's on Joe's team, did a fantastic job of working with our access and compliance team to make sure that we had all the updated information for you guys. So that brochure is there for you until we can get the Academy module going. Great suggestion. Does Princess Cruises, does cruise sales during cruise sales, will there be any land or train packages available, or are they just the cruises? So I put this question here. I think I understood it. If you are doing a cruise sale with Princess, that's a special time period where you can offer, special amenities to your guests that you're booking during that time period. Everything is eligible during that time. So we don't exclude anything. So cruises to Alaska, cruises, cruise tours, any destination is available during that time period. What's the best way to do a group cruise and land tour when some may not want to take the land portion? So this is a really good question, and it does get sometimes a little confusing. So this is the advice that I give when it comes to groups for Alaska. So if the majority of your group wants to do the cruise only, then you should take out a cruise group. You should take out a group on the cruise. And then you can always add in 1 or 2 bookings or 4 to 5 bookings that you might have that where somebody wanted to do the cruise tour. We automatically calculate and include that into the tour conductor consideration for you. That's the way you would do that. If you have the majority of your guests that want to do the cruise tour, then you make the group with the cruise tour, and then you will automatically pull in the cruise only. So think about what the majority of the group wants to do, make the group based on that, and then we can help you accommodate the one-offs. Land first or cruise first? This is the great question, Mary. It's a great question.
I know. it really depends, right? So it's one of those personal decisions. I think some folks like to go on land first because you are moving around a bit more on land, and getting some of the flights in can be it depends on where you're coming in from too, right?
Yeah.
You do the land first, and then you can relax more in your stateroom on the cruise as you get back down to the lower 48.
I'm going to also share this other little tip here that that's great, but that is also the most popular, right? So that's the most popular. So if you're also looking for a deal and maybe a little cost sensitive, you might want to look at the other direction because it's just as good, but it might be a little bit less expensive.
Such a great point.
Yeah. Okay. Is the food and bar service on rail included in the packages? It's a good question. I don't know that answer.
And when you're asking about packages, I'm not 100% sure what you mean.
Oh, I think she means like if you bought the meal package.
If you bought the meal package, yes, they are.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Hopefully that answered. I was assuming if it was about the meal package. Any cruise tours going to Katmai? So we have talked this up.
We are still working on this one, and we hope to have some great news shortly.
Thank you. That's a passion project for Mary, and that was all Mary's doing, and we love it so much, and you guys have really taken a liking to it. So we don't know just yet, but Mary's working real hard to make it come true for us.
Yeah.
Anything else? Let's see. Let me see if I see any other good questions in here that what I love in these comments is that you guys are giving each other a lot of advice. It's so cool to see that. Let's see. I think, let me see if there's any that were put in on the, nope, nothing in the private chat. So Mary, I think we're good.
Yes.
I want to
thank
thank everybody. First of all, I want to thank Mary for joining us because she had a bit of a day. She tried and flew in. And that is one of the reasons why we also adjusted our time on today's webinar, was so that we could get Mary to join us. And her knowledge and understanding of Alaska is invaluable. So thank you so much for joining us, Mary. We enjoyed having you. And I want to say thank you to everybody for joining us and chiming in and listening. And we're going to do our best to get those videos up for you as well, because those are videos that really, I think, drive home what's different about Princess in Alaska. And we're going to make sure we get those in your hands. So thank you all for joining. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a great rest of your week and have a great weekend. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.